Good evening, everybody. Time for a silver update, weekly update coming out on Saturday for this week. Wanted to visit the chart again that we've been looking at for quite some time, our $3 a month trend line, and quite clearly that was broken back on the around the 5th of January. We are still falling beneath that trend line. We're approaching the strong support that I pointed out earlier at 28, and we're just going to have to wait and see if we penetrate that to the downside. As you can see, the MACD that I had pointed out as being something similar to this one, you can see that we crossed through the 0 point and then turned down. So that's a kind of decidedly bearish development. You can see that in the past that really hasn't occurred. If you go back for most of this year, well, this goes back to June. The second half of this year, you can see that every dip below the 0 line has been accompanied by a rally that has taken us to higher ground. This dip here was accompanied by a rally, but as you can see, this rally did not take us to higher levels. Now there are some that were exceptions to this. This one here, which turned around and went down and then went to higher levels eventually. So that's still a possibility. You know, these aren't hard and fast rules. They're just observations about past price behavior. They can operate as predictors of future price behavior if prices follow a pattern consistently. Now, as this trend line here, this is a pretty consistent pattern. So you can see that between here and here we stayed above it consistently at the exact same slope. We touched it here and we rose. We touched it again and rose, again, and then this is where it was broken. So there are patterns, and they can be predictors of future price behavior, but they're not always 100% accurate. So this is a situation we're just going to have to wait and see. When you're buying silver based on the chart, basically the chart tells you a time to buy, such as here at 25 or back here at 23. It tells you when. It doesn't tell you to buy. For instance, if you had bought here, you would have made a correct decision based on this trend line and the MACD also here. But if you had not already made up your mind that you're going to buy, you wouldn't have been able to pull the trigger at either of these points. So you can use your technical analysis to tell you when to buy, but the fact that you're going to buy is something that you will have had to made up in your own mind based on fundamental analysis, and that you know, the technicals can't tell you that. It's true that you can just buy a rising market, but at some point, you know, markets turn down. So the technicals can't be the only reason you're buying, and that, of course, that's one of the causes of bull market phenomena is you know, crowd phenomena, etc. There's a lot. You get a lot of people buying because something's going up. Now, I don't think that silver is anywhere near that. I don't think gold or silver really are in the position where people are buying them because they're going up. We may get to that soon. I'm not really seeing that much of that. So we're just, right now we're waiting for clarification on the technical picture. As I pointed out before, 28 is probably a good buy price, but we can't say for certain it's not along this line. We might go through it. And then 25 is probably another buy price, and that puts us, if we get through that, puts us all the way down to 20. So we're looking at 28, 25, and 20. Now, if you're already committed fundamentally to buy, you just look for those price points. When you get them, you buy. You don't know, we're not going through 28, so you could buy a third here And if we get to here, you buy a third more, and if we get to here, you buy a third more. That's one strategy. So it's up to you how you parse out your buying selections, but no one can make that decision for you. The technicals only help you as to pick a good spot, but ultimately your confidence in buying has to come from the fundamentals. Wanted to look at some articles here. First one is out of Zero Hedge, of course. BullionVault.com runs out of silver in Germany. Kind of interesting development. Wanted to point out a line here that they point out on their site. They say, as Bullion Vault is only dealing with physical bars which are already in our possession, we're currently unable to offer silver on our own market. Of course, our market is still open to all our clients to act with each other and set their own prices. This situation could lead to buyers and sellers at higher prices. Buyers are asked to check the price again before they confirm their order. So what they're hinting at here, and we already see a little bit on eBay, is that as the shortage in silver becomes a reality, which there is still a shortage, otherwise you wouldn't have delays. And the reason you have shortages, again, is because an artificial mechanism is interfering with price. So that's what causes shortages and delays in markets. So we're seeing the potential here of a secondary market opening up, just as we already kind of have in eBay, where you've got Eagles going for $40 pretty consistently. Next article is also on Zero Hedge, and it's JP Morgan wins the CFTC position limits decision. Basically, they voted 4-1 at the CFTC that they would not enforce position limits on, it's kind of a, you'll have to read the article. It's kind of a complex ruling. It's just really pretty stupid. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in the CFTC. I mean, if you look at the commenters down below, a lot of them comment on the fact that these guys are corrupt, and I mean, it's kind of like expecting some kind of justice from the SEC. I think you'd have to be pretty naive to expect a government agency. We saw what happened with Madoff. We know that the SEC was fully aware. They had whistleblowers coming to them constantly trying to blow the whistle on Madoff, and they didn't do anything. And so I'm not really that shooken up about it, because I've never really expected anything to come of it in the first place. People like Ted Butler and Bix Weir and a lot of those people really... apparently Bart Chilton was one of the no votes, and some people have said that they have to take another vote and it has to be 5-0. I don't know. I don't really follow it that much, because I expect the fundamentals in silver to determine price, and I'm expecting the market itself to expose these people. I'm not really counting on regulators to do that. So anyway, we'll just have to follow that to see what happens. The last article I wanted to point out is on Yahoo. It's about state budget crisis that we keep hearing about. We just keep hearing about it over and over again. And some people say, that it is it's because the benefits promised to the pensions of state workers are too generous, and that's what's causing this crisis. And it's true that the benefits are ridiculous compared to the private sector. But the aspect of it that I want to point out is that they've been telling us that we're in a recovery, and it just doesn't. Some of these things don't seem to mesh. I want to point out this sentence here, just kind of a telling sentence. They say, even as tax revenue in many states shows signs of a rebound, states are expected to collect 6.5% less than they did in 2008, according to the National Association of State Budget Officers. Now, they just kind of throw that out there, but you need to stop and think about that. Wasn't 2008 the first year of the recession? And didn't they tell us that the recession was over in 2009, June of 2009? Then how could tax revenues in the states be less, 6.5% less than they were in 2008. And what do they mean when they say even as tax revenues in many states show signs of a rebound? What are they talking? What kind of gobbledygook are these people spewing? This doesn't even make any sense. A fair and honest reading of this is that state revenues continue to fall and are lower than the worst year of the recession. So this is a huge crisis. I think, I don't know which of the economists have said that this is a depression, but I mean this seems to be a depression. It's just going down, and it's continuing down. Now the housing market's turning down again. I think this is going to be like the first secret depression. I don't know. I've read articles where they've talked about the fact that the depressions in the past, they never admitted they were depressions when they were depressions. But this appears to be a depression. And so it's all the more important that you get in here and keep stacking silver. Depression, recession, inflation doesn't really matter. Fundamentals alone are going to make silver go to the moon, regardless of the economic climate. So you just want to keep stacking, and we'll talk to you next time.